Reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, entitled Dhyana Yoga. Text. What one? I wasn't there last time.
Last time 640 we completed commentaries for the surrender or commentary was reading.
So today is 41. How can you read commentaries without explanation first?
He is saying that your explanation and surrender and to me is written.
Why my explanation is okay. So text 40. Shri Bhagavan Vinashastasya vidyate nahi kadya Krit-kaschid Durgatim tata Kachati Translation report by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Long report. So we have to break it.
So we read the purport to the last class.
So you read the purport. That was the point of my explanation. So then, explanation of okay, so what do we remember from last time? Since all of you were so attentive last time, so what were the points? So let's see how much explanation has to be given and how much not. So, what did the last time? What? You don't remember? Are you passing exams? That's great. So,
Start. Because I'm saying that how a devotee is practicing devotional life, even if it falls down, so there is no loss for him. Then later on, how that is just explaining it further verse.
Okay, there's no loss to devotee for devotee who is practicing spiritual life. Okay. Anything else? Any other point? Yes.
In Kali Yuga, only Harinam Sankirtan is recommended.
In Kali Yuga, only Harinam Sankirtan is recommended. Okay. Nothing. Okay, we'll read it again. What is it? Fast. Let's see what it shows later. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O son of Pritha, A transcendentalist engaged in auspicious activities does not meet with destruction either in this world or in the spiritual world. One who does good is never overcome by evil. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnana Shakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Tadeshinte Bhaktivedanta Swamitinam Namaste Saraswati Karuna Prachana Visheshatnavani Vasudya Vishitazmi Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Shri Sri Gaura Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare. Somebody who is practicing or who is on the path of spiritual life, it says it's engaged in auspicious activity and will not meet with destruction either in this world or in the spiritual one. Krishna is saying one who is doing something good is not overcome by evil. What does evil mean? What does evil mean? What is your definition of evil? What is evil? The word itself sounds very inauspicious. What is evil? What is evil?
Dharma and
Who oppose Dharma
follow opposite of Dharma.
and follow opposite of that. So those who follow opposites and oppose the Dharma. So that's, he said, that is evil. Okay, any other ideas what the evil means? Yes?
Usually or something that can take you far from Krishna.
Okay, illusion that can take you far from Krishna.
Dark.
Dark. Dark what? Side of the moon, what? What, dark side? Dark what?
It's not on the light of the Supreme Personality of God.
Okay.
Forgetfulness of Krishna.
Gratefulness of Krishna.
So it
Forgetfulness, that's evil. Maybe. What is evil? And you know, like when you hear word evil, what should we do? I mean, what's usually the first thought that comes to the mind?
very
Okay, downward. Yes,
The Danish planets.
hellish planets. No, that's not evil. That's good. Okay,
something that we don't want.
something that we don't want.
Harmful.
Who said that? Why you said that?
Harmful.
Harmful, yes. So evil means something that is harmful, no? No, usually evil means something that it's not pleasant, that it's destructive, that it's threatening, no? That it's violent. That's evil. So it's not just dark or it's not just away from Krishna, but it's something that affects others. That's evil. Evil means it's not just you have a problem, but you're giving problem to others. That's more evil. That's evil. So you're giving trouble to others. That's evil. It's not like you're just in trouble. You put yourself in trouble. Of course, like in Ishopanishad, you know, the killer of the soul, whoever he might be, must enter into darkest region of hell. Yeah, okay, you can be evil to yourself, but in essence, evil mostly refers to harming others, giving trouble to others, threatening others. Putting them in difficulty, giving them pain. That's evil. That's really evil. So now, one who is on this spiritual path is not overcome by evil. What does that mean? He's not overcome by evil. That means he's not harming other living beings. He's not going to harm other living beings. Even though he might be in the position that usually one may think that in order to save oneself, I may sacrifice someone else. And I think like that. But the devotee doesn't think like that. The devotee just depends fully on Krishna. Devotee is not violent. In essence, it shouldn't be. Unless, of course, it's for the sake of Dharma, like, Arjuna or Hanuman. They're very violent, but for sake of Krishna. But for themselves, they're not violent. They're not violent. They're not supposed to unnecessarily be violent. Of course, when there is a threat, even when there is a threat, initially, they should try to pacify things as much as possible and avoid violence again, as much as possible. As like in Mayapur, in late 70s, late 70s, still Prabhupada was there. And there were many local people who were Govindas kind of, and they were threatening devotees and stealing things and becoming violent. And they asked Prabhupada, what should we do? How do we protect, the deities? How do we protect the temple? What are we supposed to do? And then Prabhupada said, purchase 2 guns. Yeah. Prabhupada said, purchase 2 guns. And devotees purchased 2 guns. And then Srila Prabhupada told a story. He said that Narada Muni had 1 disciple. And we know that story. The disciple became
Cobra.
It became Cobra. He became a Cobra. But then Narada Muni instructed him, you should not bite anyone. Because you're my disciple. You're Vaishnava now. You cannot bite anyone. And then this fellow was confused now. Do that. My nature is to bite. So he was following the order of Narada Muni. But then what happened was that local children, they took advantage. They saw that this snake is not biting, and they were throwing stones and harming the snake. So now he was like, what do I do now? So, and again, Narada Muni came back. He was complaining, he was lamenting, saying that, see, this is what happens now. I'm not biting, and they're harming me. It's hurting a lot. It's really very dangerous for me. What should be done? So then Narada Muni said, you don't have to bite, but you expand your goods. Threaten them. So that's what he did. Now the kids scattered away, ran away, and frightened like anything. So in the same way, Srila Prabhupada told devotees, you purchase 2 guns, but shoot above the head. And that's what devotees did. So that's a general principle. Of course, when it comes to greater violence, sometimes devotees should or could see, what else should be done. No, that's a different. But in essence, the violence should be avoided. So devotee is not an evil man. What does evil means? Again, harming others. Devotee tries to avoid. Harming is necessary if there is some lesson, no? For sake of education, or even self-preservation. But evil means without, just like again, we give an example of snake. Snake is evil. Why? Because without no reason, sometimes the snake will bite. No reason, just envious. That's evil. That's evil. So Vaishnava should avoid that. That's why anybody who's on the spiritual path is not overcome by evil. Is not going to be driven by the urge to harm anybody else. For what? He's on the spiritual path. He's getting enlightened. He's coming closer to Krishna. He's tasting Krishna consciousness. Why would he compete and strive with anybody else? For what reason? There's no reason. So devotee is not going to be overcome by evil, because what means overcome by evil means overcome by the tamaguna. Tamaguna is complete ignorance. So one who is on the auspicious transcendental path, he will not meet with destruction, because the destruction comes by reaction of bad karma. You know? So neither in this world, not to speak of spiritual world, because of course once one attains the spiritual world, then there's no question of coming back. One is already purified. So that's why there's nothing lost if one is practicing spiritual life. One will not be overcome by the lower modes of material nature. One will be progressive, will be becoming more and more purified, more and more realized, more and more Krishna conscious. Then where is the question of being overcome by the lower modes of the material nature? One will not be overcome by the ego. No. So this is one understanding that we can have from this verse itself, and in the purport Srila Prabhupada quotes Narada Muni's statement again. Narada Muni we have here, which is quite famous verse. And I think it appears, it's the second time that it appears in Bhagavad Gita, maybe it appears in another, because it is there in the second chapter, Neha Vikrama Nashasti, right? Is it, where is that? Let me see. This again appearing. Looking in the second chapter. Yes, it is here. Text 40, 240, same verse it's appearing. The Chakra Sadharma Charan Ujam Hare. Now I'm shifting here. Vajana Bhakota Pa Atet Tato Yadi Yatkva Vapadram Ahudamsya Kim Kovarta Apto Vajatam Sadhanata. So very important verses, at least now twice it appears in Bhagavad Gita. Same verse. If someone gives up all material prospects and takes complete shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is no loss or degradation in any way. On the other hand, that no devotee may fully engage in his occupation duty and yet not gain anything. So you may say, I'm doing my dharma, I'm working very hard, I'm maintaining my family. What did you gain? Like that? Nothing. Nothing. If you didn't serve Krishna, sacrifice for Krishna in some way, you wasted your life. That's what Shastra says. This is what Shastra says. You gain nothing. Why? Because you didn't elevate your consciousness. You didn't really use the human form of life for what you were supposed to. That is the point. You maintain your life, animals maintain their lives. They also eat, sleep, have sex, get fat. What's the difference? What's the difference? They also, work hard to maintain their family. What's the point? How do they progress? Human life is not just meant for that. Human life is meant for higher consciousness. Human life, it's not mechanical process. We just, without thinking, act on the urge in a mechanical way. We just sleep, work, and do some things every day, the same thing, without any higher consciousness. Touch now. Touch. Nothing. Increased. Don't. Why touching? Who told you to touch? What's your business touching? So that's why devotee takes complete shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And therefore, even if he doesn't perform so-called other types of duties, for him there is no loss or diminution. You may ask now, how is that? Because Krishna will Ananyas Chintayanto Mam Yejana Parifasate, you know. Whatever devotee has, Krishna will preserve. Whatever devotee lacks, Krishna will supply. Now, if you don't have faith in that, then what can be done? And you'll never have realization beyond it. But if you try, you might become surprised that Krishna responds, that Krishna will respond. So therefore, just performing material duties, you gain nothing. You just expend your karmic reactions, good or bad. That's it. You're expending, you're not gaining anything. You're not gaining anything. You might say, I have a big bank account, so what? You didn't gain anything. You're just expanding your karma. That comes also as a resultant reaction of certain previous karma. You didn't gain, you didn't invest. You're not going to gain anything in the future. You just expended your karma. You're not going to achieve anything. So a transcendentalist is supposed to give up all material activities for the sake of spiritual advancement in life, Krishna consciousness. That's right. Somebody who practices Krishna consciousness, spiritual life, is giving up everything material. He's not interested in prestige. He's not interested in position. He's not interested in opulences, sense gratification. He's not interested in any of that. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is praying, Natanam Janam Nasundarim Avitam Vajagadisha Kama. Then Mama Janmani Shwari Bhagavatam Bhakti Ahai Tukitvai. So, what does that mean? I don't want any of that. And you will say, how can he say that? Whole world is running mad. I want nice Sundarim. No. I want opulence. Dhanam, yeah. I want followers, adoration, profit, fame. I want all of this. People are screaming for that. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I don't want any of this. So maybe we should think, if he says he doesn't want any of this, maybe, maybe there's some reason behind it. Maybe there's some good reason behind it. We should also think like that. At least intellectually we might consider it like that. If you didn't realize how actually, the more Sundari you have, the more trouble you will have. No? Because there is one interesting word in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Maybe I'll try to recollect later on. But that same word has double meaning in Sanskrit. It has a meaning called wife, but it also means quarrel. So the wife, the two wives. I forget the Sanskrit now, maybe later I'll recollect, but it doesn't matter. The meaning is important. So two wives. Two wives means quarrel. They will always quarrel. They won't stand each other. They won't tolerate each other. It's extremely rare. They tolerate each other. That's why Krishna made the very wonderful arrangements. He gave each a very nice separate palace, no? They didn't live in the same palace or something. They just had their own palace. Krishna was in each and every palace expanded. So there was no issues. So you want to have so many sundaris, get ready to have so many separate palaces. Can you afford it? Can you do it? If you can, then go ahead. If you cannot, better don't get involved. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knows what is worthy of endeavoring for and what it's not. Why should he endeavor? I want so many followers, I want so many girls, I want so many. He said, I don't want any of this. Because it's just a source of trouble. And when you have Krishna, why would you want anything else? He's absolute everything. So when you have absolute everything, why would you want something else? That it's, such a distant, pale reflection of that essence. Why would anybody want anything in such? So that's why transcendentalists are not interested in material activities for sake of spiritual advancement in Krishna consciousness, in life Krishna consciousness. So it's said, Srila Prabhupada points out, for material prospects, there are many activities, both spiritual and customary. So that means according to nature, guna and karma, and then spiritual activities, just like chanting, worship. So one may argue that by Krishna consciousness, one may attain the highest perfection, if it is completed, but it does not attain such a perfection stage, then he loses both material and spiritually. So that we already discussed it, no? It says like a riven cloud, Arjuna is asking. Prabhupada brings this point again. He said if a riven cloud, it doesn't join the big cloud, he's lost. No? Can be withered by the wind. But Prabhupada said that's not the case in spirituality. And then any small endeavor, it's not that you have to capitalize on it. No, it's already recorded and it's already stored and it's already present, ever present. So one doesn't have to worry about it. It is enjoined in the scriptures that one has to suffer the reaction for not executing prescribed duties. Therefore, one who fails to discharge transcendental activities properly becomes subjected to these reactions. So yes, if you don't perform your duty, you don't know even what your duty is, then you are in trouble. Then you fail to fulfill the purpose of your human life. And you're punishable. That's pretty heavy. Yeah, but that's what follows. So you have to perform your duty. But even then, if you perform your duty, but you're not connecting it to Krishna, then you're also in trouble, because you gain nothing. It's not just I do my duty, but do you know what's your duty? What's the highest duty? That becomes a little complicated now. But the essence is, if it's something that it's not connected to Krishna consciousness, it's futile. There's no use of it, there's no benefit. So it is enjoined in the scriptures that one has to suffer the reaction for not executing prescribed duties. Therefore, one who fails to discharge transcendental activities properly becomes subjected to these reactions. The Bhagavatam assures the unsuccessful transcendentalists that there is no worries. See, that's on the material plane, but on spiritual plane, you don't have to worry about it. If I don't perform my spiritual duties completely and properly, then it's all lost? No. You see, there is no loss. If one performs spiritual activities, one loses nothing. So one doesn't have to worry about it. That's what Srimad Bhagavatam, this is what this verse is saying, which we just quoted, spoken by Narada Muni. So even though he might be subjected to the reaction of not perfectly executing prescribed duties, he is still not a loser, because auspicious Krishna consciousness is never forgotten, and once so engaged will continue to be so, even if he's low-born in the next life. So it doesn't matter. Wherever you stopped, you continue with your spiritual life. Spiritual life is never lost. And that's another point, because whatever material circumstance there is, it doesn't hamper your spiritual consciousness. And we see that spiritual consciousness, it's not monopoly of pious life. You can be even impious to some extent, but you may exhibit that Krishna consciousness. What's the most famous example? Somebody who was impious but just exhibited Krishna consciousness? Arjuna. No. So on the other hand, one who strictly follows the prescribed duties need not necessarily attain auspicious results if he's lacking in Krishna consciousness. So we say, I'm doing my duty. What's another good example for that? I'm doing my duty, but I, miss the goal of my duties. What's a very famous example for that? Who knows? Srimad Bhagavad. Can you guess? Somebody was doing yajna?
Daksha.
No? Yeah, okay. Something better. Brahmanas, 10th canto, story of the Brahmanas doing yajna, and then Krishna and Balaram were hungry. They sent a coward boy, please get some food from them, and they didn't give. They went to their wives, they immediately supplied. And then those Brahmanas were lamenting. They're doing yajna for so-called pleasure of Vishnu. Vishnu comes himself, and they're not giving anything. But what is the use of such a big yajnas, big sacrifice, this and that? What is the use? They completely missed the point. They completely missed the point, everything. And they didn't get any result. They're doing such a big yajna, big this and that. Krishna personally comes and they ignore him and even offend practically. So what is the use of your so-called I'm doing my duty? But you don't even know what's your duty. Nowadays anybody saying I'm doing my duty, but what is that? What is that? They don't even have any idea what the duty is, what the Dharma is. Shiva, what nonsense you're doing now? Okay. The purport may be understood as follows. Humanity may be divided into two sections, namely the regulated and the non-regulated. Those who are engaged simply in bestial sense gratifications without knowledge of next life or spiritual salvation belong to the non-regulated section. And we see the whole world is like this. Everybody's just thinking about how much sense gratification I can have, how much sex I can have, how much I can satisfy my tongue, how much I can exploit others. That's what the world is all about. Everybody's just looking how to exploit more resources for themselves. If anybody asks you, I was just thinking today, if anybody asks you, what's the difference between Vedic civilization and any other civilization, what are you going to say? Huh? I want to hear your answers now. You tell me, what is the difference between the, let's say, social, economic, and political, which means that's all one thing. So let's say, what is in the whole set system, what is the difference between Vedic system and material system? You call it democracy, you call it communism, you call it socialism, you call it capitalism, you call it, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Even you want to call it monarchy or something. What is the difference? What is the difference, Mr. Shiva?
There is no spiritualism.
There is no spiritualism. Okay, any other thoughts? That's correct. Yes, behind?
Full of ignorance.
Huh?
Full of ignorance.
Full of ignorance, okay, what else?
Yours are guided by.
Okay. Vedic is guided by Brahmanas. Well, Brahmanas can also be corrupt. Anybody here from Bihar? I'm just, why laughing? Just asking a question. Huh? You're from UP. It's pretty close. It's dangerous. No, because Koshi Nadi, that's where Parikshit Maharaj has been cursed. That's where degradation started. Shringi was the first who was influenced by the age of Kala. So Brahmanas also can become corrupt. Anyway, that's the point. Okay, but anyway, the basic principle is brahmanas should guide, and they're in materialistic society, they don't. Okay, then what are the other thoughts? What's the difference between these two systems? Yes?
Center point is different.
Center point is different. Okay, pretty good. Center point is different. Yes, what else? Something about the system itself. How do you support the system? Let me become now more precise. The difference between those systems is how do you maintain the system? Yes? Okay, Varnashram. But what's the difference? What is not there? What happens then? Make it more clear.
It is authorized and scientific regimes.
Yeah, but they won't accept it.
No discipline.
They will say ours is also authorized. Huh? You already had your chance. Yes?
Still, so-called civilization is based upon, you can say, it's sustained by exploiting others.
Okay, that's the point. Material system cannot sustain itself without exploiting others. That's the basic point. That's the basic point. Vedic system is just self-generating system. It doesn't need to exploit anybody or anything else. It's just perfect system. You want to argue with anybody why you're promoting this Vedic, this and that, because it's just self-generating system. It's just like you take from the nature and you give back to the nature. You know, you offer some Ganga water, you pour it back to the water, you get a result? No. You take the renewable resource energy or whatever it is. You don't exploit and cause trouble. Just like even somebody asked Mahatma Gandhi, what do you think about this, Western system and this and that? So he said, Britain to support itself and to maintain itself needs so many countries to exploit. If India is such a large country with such a population, then it would require, 5 other planets to, sustain itself in such a system. That's a paraphrase anyway. So how do you do that? It doesn't work. That's why the whole world is at war. That's why the whole world is at war. India doesn't follow Vedic system either. That's why it will be drawn into the war. It's drawn anyway. It's going on under the name of Pakistani and this one and that, or China and this and that, and whatever, Kashmir, whatever it is, or so many other things. It's going on. Or maybe say an Naxalite and this and that, whatever it is, it's going on. Because it's based on exploitation. There's a war going in Burma. No. There's a war going in, so many wars are going in Africa. Around Israel, all these Middle Eastern countries are all flared up. There's so many places, Taiwan, they're just waiting, like any moment it may burst. I mean, wherever, it's all over the world. It's all over something somewhere going on. It's all over the world. Anyway, we don't have to mention it. It's all over. Turkey now threatens this eastern side there, this is going on, this. Oh, it's all over everywhere. Why? Because everybody's trying to see where we can exploit someone else and draw the resources for ourselves, because our economy is breaking down. And then how do you renew everything? You have to have a war, you have to destroy, so then you renew everything by, exploiting people, bringing them to the point of having nothing and making them working hard, so you build up another economy. That's how this system works. But that's not a Vedic system. So you want to live in this system, capital exploiting, so-called demon crazy system. Okay, good luck. Good luck. You'll never be happy and peaceful and satisfied. It's not going to work. Because economists, they point out there are cycles. Even this, you will find there are recession. Recession cycles happen every few years or few decades at most. There has to be a recession. And you have to start from zero ground. It has to happen. Where is the recession in Vedic system? Just never heard of it. Never heard of it. Where is the necessity of war for economic means? in the Vedic system. Never heard of it. Where is the question of exploitation of anybody else for sustenance? Never heard of it in the Vedic system. So why are we so enthusiastic to follow, what is imposed upon us? And you're working so hard. Who was telling me all day, see, confirmed. It's so disturbing. That's the modern system. Just the modern system. So much anxiety, so much fear, so much threat, so much evil, so much evil. So do you understand the difference between what is Vedic, what is not Vedic? Vedic system is just self-generating system. It's a perfect system. It doesn't harm anybody else. Whereas any other system depends on exploiting someone or something else. So which system you want to live in? That's your system here. How much you say competition. Competition. There's no competition in the Vedic lifestyle. There's no competition. Everybody find their own, place and ways of maintaining themselves. Now competition. This company against that company. This is this, that is that. There's so much madness going on. You cheat, exploit this, that, somehow or other get the profit. And you wanna remain in living such a lifestyle? Good luck. Good luck. And you wanna think that yes, I can be happy, I will get money and enjoy. Maybe sometimes you'll get money and then most of the time you will lose the money and cry. What a hellish life. What a hellish life. Just the other day, one boy came to me yesterday. He said, I've started 2 businesses, I'm having losses in both. Now I'm thinking I'm gonna get some cows and live in a farm. I said, yes, you should have done that in the first place. Live a Vedic lifestyle. Not here competing for what. So this is it, that's, like I said, be still sense gratification. We are running here, struggling, exploiting others for be still sense gratification, without knowledge of the next life. So we'll do anything just to get some, beg, borrow, or steal, it doesn't matter. And do even worse things. But that's what Charvaka Muni said, beg, borrow, or steal, just get ghee. Because ghee at least get some sense what is the good quality of enjoyment. So I said, bestial sense gratification without knowledge of the next life or spiritual salvation belong to the non-regulated section. So Prabhupada talks about regulated section and non-regulated section. And those who follow the principles of prescribed duties in the scriptures are classified amongst the regulated section. So that's devotees. These are the transcendentalists. The Prabhupada continues, said, non-regulated section, both civilized and non-civilized, educated, non-educated, strong and weak, are full of animal propensities. That's non-regulated section. Their activities are never auspicious because while enjoying the animal propensities of eating, sleeping, defending, and mating, they perpetually remain in the material existence, which is always miserable. So there is no win situation. Live like an animal, you feel like an animal. On the other hand, those who are regulated by scriptural injunctions and who thus rise gradually to Krishna consciousness certainly progress in life. Okay, I'll hurry up a little bit. There's one more little bigger paragraph. Let's just read to this and let's see how much time is left. Those who are following the path of auspiciousness can be divided into 3 sections, namely 1, the followers of scriptural rules and regulations for enjoying material prosperity. Okay, so that's like Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, but we're doing according to Shastra. No? Then 2, those who are trying to find ultimate liberation from material existence. And 3, those who are devotees in Krishna consciousness. So different levels of transcendentalists. Those who somehow connect their activities to Krishna, but still, sakam karma, they want some enjoyment. Then Nishkam, little detachment, looking for liberation, and those who are just don't care, just interested in how to serve Krishna, just get pleasure from Krishna directly, or in connection to Krishna. So those who are following the rules and regulations of the scriptures for material happiness may be divided further into two classes. Okay, so that's Sakam and Nishkam. Those who are fruitive workers and those who desire no fruit for sense gratification. Those who are after fruitive results for sense gratification may be elevated to high standard of life, even to the highest planets, but still, because they are not free from material existence, are not following the truly auspicious path. The only auspicious activities are those which lead one to liberation. Any activity which is not aimed at ultimate self-realization or liberation from the material bodily concept of life, it's not at all auspicious. So if you're not on path of liberation, then you're part of bondage and degradation. Very simple. If you're not on the path of liberating yourself, detaching yourself from material everything, you're on the path of binding yourself more and more and degrading yourself more and more. So which path do you want? How much people struggle in Bollywood? How much you struggle there to get some role and to get some prominence? Maybe sometimes, can you give class one day? Don't look behind. Huh? No, really, can you share something? We are very unfortunate. Our Haridas Prabhu had passed away. You know, he would have tell us a lot of interesting views on the Bollywood, because he lived it for many years. And he said he said many very strong things about it, which I don't know if it's there online. Maybe after. But, you know, so people have so many have no idea how much struggle is there, how much competition, how much exploitation. You know, what you have to do to get a role or prominence or whatever. How so many abominable activities go on and everybody thinks, no, this is goal of life. You know? So despicable. So those activities don't lead to liberation. They're not auspicious. So only auspicious activities are those which lead to liberation. Any activities which is not aimed at ultimate self-realization or liberation, for material bodily concept of life, it's not at all auspicious. So as long as you cultivate bodily identity and you think you can enjoy through the body, you're on the path of bondage and degradation. I'm the body, I can enjoy through body, or I can enjoy someone else's body. That's not going to help at all. And this is what the whole world is entrapped with. I'm this one against that one. Bodily, me and mine, me and my conception. Or we get together. You see the wars, you know, two countries are together after some decades. You know, there's some other countries together against this one and that one, and this is, so they're just playing the game of interest, who to exploit, how to exploit and get prominence for their own sense gratification. It's always like this. No, it's just so unchaste, so to say, so disgusting, so trivial, so miserable. So activity in Krishna consciousness is the only auspicious activity, and anyone who voluntarily accepts all bodily discomforts for the sake of making progress in the path of Krishna consciousness can be called a perfect transcendentalist under severe austerity. So that's why devotee will even give up his position, devotee will even give up material possessions, devotee will forsake anything for sake of Krishna. Confirmed, 9 o'clock. That's a devotee. That's a devotee, because how he can do that? Because he has something so much greater, so much better. That's how he can do it. And he feels that he has taste for it. That's how he can do it. He's practicing, he's feeling it. He understands it. And because, even here, Prabhupada said, and accepts all bodily discomforts for sake of making advancement in Krishna consciousness. So, and because the Eightfold Yoga system is directed toward the ultimate realization of Krishna consciousness, such practice is also auspicious. And one who is trying his best in this matter need fear degradation. Okay, any questions or comments? Yes.
As Vaishya, business was always a part of Vedic system, right? So how business can be self-sufficient? It means profit, taking profit off of someone.
Yeah, but there is, I already said, there is certain percentage that it's allowed, not more than that. Cannot exploit overly, you cannot take advantage. There was some fellow who invented some medicine, something was there, and he got a patent and then he purchased it for, I don't know, just say $100, and then he was charging thousands of dollars. And people freaked out because it was very important thing, for his medicine, something. And he was charged at court and he was jailed. He was taking advantage. That's cheating. That's too much. You take some, okay, you pay $100. Okay, maximum you do it double. That's even that it's too much. What? But he was charged, like how many times more? That becomes criminal. That's why Vaishyas has to be under strict scrutiny of the Kshatriyas. There was one king of Bharatpur that he said, that I think there's some conversation with Prabhupada or Devotees, there was something that he said, that's the role of a king, to see that Vaishyas are not misusing the position, that they're not cheating and corrupting everybody. That's the duty of the king. Because mostly corruption and everything else starts from the Vaishyas, how to get a profit. So they have to be kept in line like that. And nowadays they corrupt all the government, everything else, everybody else. So actually the Vaishyas rule the world. Capitalism rules the world. There's no monarchy. There's no king. There's no kshatriyas. They're all shudras, serving under Vaishyas. But that's why it's a chaos. So with every fire there is a smoke. That's what is discussed in Bhagavad Gita. So for Vaishya also, yes, there is some smoke, but he purifies that by offering fruits of the result to Krishna. You have to cheat to make a profit. So that's smoke, it's cheating. But you can't cheat too much, because then it's really sinful, then you cannot purify yourself, then you go to hell. So that's what Kshatriya sees, that's never allowed to happen. Because then the whole society is corrupt. There's a limit. So some profit, it's fine, but you can't take advantage. No? Okay, yes?
So even in the Vedic civilization, even that time also wars were happening.
Wars in Vedic civilizations were wars amongst those kings who didn't practice Dharma, or who were a little bit too puffed up, like Kartavirya, Arjuna, and whatever. Some issues like that were going on. So corruption is always there to some extent. And that's why everything had to be set in a line. Or somebody was just ambitious and then just, throw challenge upon each other. But those wars never affected anybody else except Kshatriyas involved in that battle itself. That's it. They didn't involve villages, they didn't involve cities, they didn't involve any other innocent people or uninvolved people. Nobody else. Big difference. What are the wars nowadays? They just destroy everything. You see those cities in Ukraine or something, flattened to the ground. There's nothing left. Children, women, old man, this man, that man, whatever it is. Who cares? Sometimes it's said that more civilian people die in the recent wars than the soldiers. So what kind of war is that? Very simple, very simple. Big difference, okay? Any other question? Yes?
In the time of birth, in which time soul enter in our body?
At the time of birth, what?
In which time soul enter in our body?
Soul enters through the particle of the semen. It enters into the body through the grains, it enters into the body of a man, and ran through the semen, it's placed into the womb. At that point, it enters. Okay? Has nothing to do with subject we're discussing. Something on the subject? Yes?
So you told about Vedic civilization and the other civilization. So how can we contribute to make Vedic civilization from our side?
You first contribute to yourself. First save yourself. That's the principle.
Finding the territory of country.
You want to expand your territory. Ancient time, it was all Bharatvarsha, one territory. There was no question of this and that. All under one king. Now what? Did he go to the moon maybe and try to conquer? No, he didn't. They didn't bother with that. Even this was too much. They were ruling just for the sake of others, not for themselves. That was the mentality. That is the king.
At the time of Prabhuji, there was astrology.
Okay, so what's
Territory.
huh?
For expanding the territory.
That was not for expanding. It was to accept the sovereignty of that emperor. Because sometimes king would, try to challenge or try to become emperors themselves. That was a natural process. They would have a chance for it if they could fight well. Like even in Mahabharata, who was defeated? Even the horse was defeated, but then they agreed. I have to think a little bit. I mean, not the horse, but the army was defeated, whoever was behind the horse. I think even Arjuna was defeated in Manipur, no? He was defeated by his son or something like this, no? But they still agreed. They honored the horse, they honored the dynasty. There were cases like this. And some other, I think few other cases were like that. But still they honored. They showed their prowess. It was Kshatriya challenge, whatever. Okay, it's getting late. Maybe we'll discuss other questions after during the Prashadam time. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Prabhupada Mandir, see you all.